Of all the iconic game studios to come out of the 1990s, Treasure has always been one of my favorites. Formed by a team of talented programmers who had previously worked at Konami, the Tokyo-based developer broke onto the scene with the 16-bit classic Gunstar Heroes and used its success to create some of the greatest shoot-'em-ups, brawlers, and whatever the hell Stretch Panic is. All this talk about Treasure made me wonder, what did Electronic Gaming Monthly think of this legendary studio? Did they have a favorite Treasure game? As it turns out, EGM reviewed a total of 17 games that were developed by Treasure between 1989 and 2009. This includes all of the 16-bit classics, the weird oddities, and even a game starring Ronald McDonald. This is the rare company that can say that they worked on everything from Astro Boy to Wario World. Unfortunately, Electronic Gaming Monthly didn't review any of the games that didn't make it outside of Japan until years later, like Radiant Silvergun and Alien Soldier. So while it's disappointing that we're never going to know what EGM thought of Dragon Drive, I think you'll agree that we have a great list with a lot of amazing games. What we're going to do today is count down the best and worst Treasure games using Electronic Gaming Monthly's own words and scores. There's no editorializing here, we're just going to focus on what the critics said back when these games first came out. Ooh, I sure hope you like boss battles, because this is what happens when EGM ranks Treasure.
Greed is good.
It will get you everything.
It'll get you everything?
Even if you have to pile drive your enemy to do so. Get ready for some real greed. Rated everyone. GameCube.
Alright, we're gonna kick things off with number 17, Stretch Panic on the PlayStation 2. It's not often that a game totally shocks me, but this one made me speechless. Here's a title where you're rewarded for grabbing obnoxiously huge breasts. At first I thought I had been blessed to be on this review, a genuine breast-grabbing simulator. But once I got past the novelty, I was considerably less amused. This game is just plain whacked. It's very odd, both visually and gameplay-wise. And it's not easy to play either. The blind camera makes it hard to control your character and aim your weapon, and some of the bosses are frustrating, though a bit innovative. Number 16, Light Crusader on the Genesis. Light Crusader is a hard game to judge. It excels in terms of graphics and ingenuity of gameplay. However, even the most hardened players will find the perspective difficult to get used to. I've never seen puzzle elements mixed with action quite this way. Light Crusader is weak in the story department, particularly when you must find out where to go next. The interface is nice when using items, but the combat did not work. Light Crusader needs more action scenes and less puzzles. Number 15, Silpheed, The Lost Planet on PlayStation 2. Being a big fan of the Sega CD version of Silpheed and of Treasure in general, I was really looking forward to this PlayStation 2 shooter. Unfortunately, this update does little to advance the series other than adding some gorgeous graphics to what was already a pretty stale game engine. Although there are a lot of weapons to earn as you play, there's just no depth. Not a power-up to be found, and the PlayStation 2 version of Silpheed doesn't even bother with the special weapon system from the Sega CD game. Basically, you fly and you shoot. That's fun for a little while, but Silpheed just doesn't have anything that makes it worth more than a rental fee. Number 14, Wario World on the GameCube. Wario's mindless punching gets real old real fast. Enemies respawn so quickly that pummeling them gives you no advantage. Unlike the first two worlds, when I thought of them as a platformer with training wheels. Just what the cube kiddies need, right? Well, sort of. About halfway through, the training wheels come off and your safe neighborhood street becomes an icy mountain road at night. A perilous journey only the most seasoned jumping puzzle zealots will enjoy. Wario World might keep you entertained, if you like that sort of self-flagellating frustration. Number 13, Advanced Guardian Heroes on the Game Boy Advance. The original Guardian Hero stood out because of its stunning visuals, huge characters, and over-the-top action-heavy battles. Unfortunately, the tiny Game Boy Advance screen isn't exactly the best place to try to replicate that kind of experience, but Advanced Guardian Heroes at least manages to come pretty close. In typical Treasure fashion, the screen is almost always littered with enemies, and the challenge level is absurdly high for a beat-em-up. Still, unless you're a big fan of the genre, the endless button mashing can get pretty tiring. Number 12, McDonald's Treasureland Adventure on the Genesis. Yes, it's Ronald McDonald's own video game, but guess what? It's pretty good, too. The levels are big, with plenty of items to find, and the various appearance of Ronald's crusty yet benign friends are a nice touch. Number 11, Bangai-O on the Dreamcast. Treasure makes the niftiest shooters in town, and this is yet another example of their expertise. With Robotron-style control and Super Sprite madness, this funky shooter is aimed directly at the hardcore gamer who likes a stiff challenge. The graphics are definitely 16-bit quality, but run in a high resolution and sport a level of 2D detail that'll make you yearn for the days when this kind of game were commonplace. Not that Treasure ever does anything commonplace. Don't be put off by the extremely tiny characters or you'll be missing a wicked little game. Number 10, Dynamite Headdy on the Game Gear. A very faithful portable version of Headdy with great graphics and excellent control. Some of my colleagues didn't find Headdy very creative, but I disagree. For the Sega systems, he's one of the more original characters to appear. Huge levels involving more than just bashing enemies await. The guys at Treasure are on the right track. Let's see some more. And we're back with number 9, Dynamite Headdy on the Genesis. Another unique title from the folks at Treasure. The main character, Headdy, has several excellent attacks using different heads, and the levels are very colorful with some knockout visual effects like the rotating platforms and the giant blimp dog boss. This is a top action title for the Genesis. Number 8, Gunstar Heroes on the Game Boy Advance. So, which audience is developer Treasure trying to reach with Gunstar Heroes exactly? On one hand, it's packed with nods and references to the Genesis classic. On the other hand, it's more of a remake than a sequel, yet lacks some of the defining features fans have come to associate with the Gunstar name. So, old schoolers are likely to find it something of a letdown, while newcomers won't appreciate its delicate subtleties. Fortunately, anyone and everyone can appreciate the amazing graphical tricks Treasure has pulled out of its hat. Does it live up to its legacy? Not really, but it sure is pretty. Number 7, Gradius V on the PlayStation 2. And I thought that Ikaruga was hard. Gradius V ups the ante with never-ending parades of colossal bosses, creative stages that conspire to crush your ship, and hundreds of horrible little bullets to dodge. Newcomers will find an attractive shooter that teaches Twitch game skills that they never had. Returning Gradius fans will get a killer love letter to a series that is so hard you'll weep for your atrophied hand-eye coordination. Whatever your skill level though, good luck finishing the last 3 levels without unlimited continues. Number 6, Mischief Makers on the Nintendo 64. Mischief Makers is a bizarre, well-done platform game that won't appeal to everyone. Its cute gameplay heavily relies on puzzle solving and mechanics, in addition to the normal reflexes needed for platform games. It took me a while to get into the game, but once I learned many of its nuances, it grew on me the more I played it. If you're looking for a challenging, unique platformer, Mischief Maker fits the bill. Number 5, Silhouette Mirage on the PlayStation. Calling Silhouette Mirage an old-school shooter would be doing it a disservice, because you've never played anything like this before. The clever, downright wild gameplay takes some getting used to. Still, the first few levels baby step you into the game nicely, and you'll get the hang of your enormous arsenal of moves in no time. Despite its grating digitized voices, Silhouette Mirage delivers all the killer bosses and solid gameplay that I've come to expect from a Treasure title. Number 4, Guardian Heroes on the Saturn. Until now, fighting games have been just that, a title revolving around combat. Guardian Heroes, on the other hand, blends the fighting action into a well-rounded RPG that has multiple paths and endings depending on the selections in the game. I also like the feature your characters going up in skill level with experience. This adds a unique fun factor to the title and supplies the player with hours of constantly changing action. Guardian Heroes is a great title for players looking for a game that's a little outside of the norm. Number 3, Ikaruga on the GameCube. Like Keanu Reeves said in, every movie he's ever been in, whoa. Ikaruga's onslaught of baddies, bullets, and bosses push your reflexes to the limits, while its brilliant black-white switching and combo scoring system make for surprisingly deep gameplay. As you learn patterns and develop skills, playing Ikaruga evolves from just hoping to survive, to wanting to beat the game, to finally just having to perfect each stage. My only major gripe is that despite being infinitely replayable, it could have used more levels. Still, if you value mastery and high score bragging rights, this will blow your socks off your ass. Number 2, Astro Boy Omega Factor on the Game Boy Advance. Fanboy favorite developer Treasure has put together a masterful side-scroller in Omega Factor. Packed with intense action, beautiful graphics, tons of cool cameos, and references from not only countless famous Astro Boy stories, but also other classics by old-school animator and Astro Boy creator Osamu Tezuka. If you consider yourself even a small fan of his work, you'll have a blast playing this. Astro Boy may seem a bit too easy at first, but don't be fooled. Unlocking all the hidden characters and stages takes a lot of skill and effort. And finally, at number 1, Gunstar Heroes on the Genesis. This game kicks ass. Offhand, I can't think of another game that offers a blend of action and shooting like this one. The weapons are cool with enough variety, and the levels are huge. Plus, they're filled with detail. Then there's the bosses. Once you fight these beauties, you'll wonder why game companies never did this before. There's non-stop enemies and plenty to shoot at. It looks like the Genesis can still kick butt.
Hey man, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad. No more cowboy ghosts, right? You gotta understand something. I ride the Clancers. I have the answers. I played Greek dodgeball with a Virgin Diddy. Just me, Marina light years, and a lot of shaking. Oh sure, those bees need their honey, but I need gold gems. The professor cannot wait forever. The evil empire will not allow it. So, where you going? Here's mine.
New Mischief Makers, only on Nintendo 64. It's a
Hey, thanks for watching me count down these treasure games. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new episodes just like this almost every week. We have a whole playlist, and it's getting dangerously close to having 100 episodes in it. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite treasure game? Look, I'm a simple man who's never gonna say no to Gunstar Heroes. But there's some real classics on this list. Let me tell you, that Astro Boy game is fantastic. That should come to the Nintendo Switch Online. No matter what, I'm excited to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with reviews and review crews. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,